I got 8:32.
See,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
Overtime.
8:32.
You want to do the minutes real quick?
Sure, I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of September the 11th.
Second.
We have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I have a letter of understanding with Adams Brown to provide services for years December, for 2019, 2021 for the audit. You want to look those over so we can get those signed. I've got the letters from the Department of Revenue, the appraiser's office is in compliance. Look those over. K-Camp is getting ready to renew our insurance, so I have to fill out this questionnaire, and you guys have to look at it. One of the questions is, do I have you guys look it over? So if you'd each look at that sometime this morning. And we need to appoint the voting delegate for K-Work annual meeting, which is at KAC in November. The delegate and alternate must be an elected official from your county. And then you need to nominate your board position from South Central. Ours currently is a commissioner from Cowley County. So,
We need a motion to,
yes,
Use-
please, to re-up with.
and that's for the next 3 years.
It's for for the audit for the budget year 19, 20, and 21.
Okay. I would know that we employ Adams Brown, involved to do the budget for 2019, 20, and 21.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to employ Adams Brown involved for the audit for 2020. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
We're ready, Mike.
90 seconds.
I think so.
I think there is.
Morning. Good, how are you guys this morning? Good to
Good to
see
see
you.
you again.
Likewise, how are you, sir?
Hi, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you? Got business for us?
This is a good year. That's a good thing,
Crazy.
right?
Yes. Yes. Sign those copies back.
I see where Ergon has made the payroll, the vendors list again.
Should be the last of Ergon this year.
7
I think
loads.
he's done sealing. There's more than 7 on there.
Huh?
There's more than 7 on there.
And there's another thing.
Oh, yes.
We're ready whenever
No, I'm.
You just gotta jump right in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
You guys got some serious stuff going on. You guys got piles of stuff.
we do.
That's-
All at once.
Well, I tell you, the reason why I asked for the meeting, I just wanted to go through a few things, kind of have the plan for renewal, because we'll have renewal, probably get the preliminary renewal in the next week or maybe 2, but before the end of the month. And so, but really what, is last time I was here, I told you about my change and what I'm doing and no longer with benefit management. But however, they've asked me to continue on working with folks like yours, your group. And so what I want to be able, and they understand that my role is working as a consultant, not necessarily just from their standpoint, but also from what else is in the market, what's best, and taking a look at the market and finding if there is anything else that makes sense from what you're doing right now. So ultimately, what I have already started is I'm looking at Blue Cross, United Healthcare, and Aetna from a carrier standpoint. You have been with your self-funded plan for over 20 years. And, you know, self-funded plans do this. But when it does this, you reap the benefits, and when it's up here, you might spend a little bit more than what you do when you're fully insured, like with Blue Cross or something like that. But what happens is there's more years where you have average years where Blues or somebody makes money on you, and they have bad years too where they lose money. But overall, it tends to, they're going to make money. Somehow they're going to make money on it. So that's why you go self-funded. But it's worth always testing the market just to see where, because your self-funded rates can creep up too, and those kind of things. So it's worth going out and seeing. And so those three I plan to bring back to you in October. From those three, I also will look at another independent TPA and have them shop some stop loss as well to make sure. So we'll have 5 things to look at. If something's out of the, I'm not going to stockpile papers on you. I'll just say, okay, these United Healthcare didn't make any sense, so we're not even going to look at that. But here, you know, Blues and Aetna and benefit management will lay it out and show that to you. Okay. One of the things, you have gotten an email from benefit management about wanting to do any plan changes for next year. And that was the second thing. Are any questions on that about going to the market and looking at it? I tell you what, the one thing I won't bring you are what I like to, they're basically, I just lost my train of thought on it, but I'm not bringing you anything that is kind of off the wall type things. I don't think that from a municipality standpoint that those are things that what you're doing right now is a risk year in, year out. And there are other things out there where you can self-fund deductibles and you can get in on some literally riskier contracts than what you have right now. My company will allow me to do that. I don't want to do that. You don't want to see that. And there's people that are pushing those around the area. So if you want to see one of those, you'll have to look with somebody else on those. But I would always be able to share with you my thoughts on something if you ever did get something like that. What I think the pros or cons would be. So, but with your plan designs, you currently offer one plan. And that one plan has, I'd say it's a I would say not middle of the road. It really is a very good deductible and co-insurance. It's a good plan compared to what the market is right now. A member right now could have, for individual, not for family, could have a total of $1,750 out of pocket for medical claims. Most of the market right now, the average out of pocket is about $3,500, so you're about the half of that. Now, when you throw in municipalities though, that's all industries, is about $3,500 from our employers. If you go in all industries, that comes, when you just go municipalities, that number comes down to about $2,000 to $2,250, so you're not too far out of line with that. And even if you go farther, the farther we are in western Kansas, that even comes down. So you're probably, where your one plan is right now, is very similar to a lot of municipalities in the western part of the state, if you consider us western. Everybody else does, I know, so really from a standpoint of where your plans are, I need to know, because when we go out to the market, it's gonna be very difficult to match what you guys have right now. Most of the carriers don't offer what you guys have, the type of plan that you have right now. One, Blue Cross has one, Aetna and United Healthcare don't have either one. It'll be more like a $2,500 out of pocket or a $3,000 out of pocket is what they will offer. So it won't be an apples to apples on some of these quotes. But I'll work with Nita, so you guys don't have to be on that. If there is any changes that we need to maybe address, really your prescription, from a benefit standpoint, your prescription plan is a pretty, the members have to pay 20% of the cost of their drugs. That is a really good, that's really good that you have that in there, and that's that way, because it makes people decide on whether or not I want to take an expensive brand or I try to find a generic. 20% of $200 is a lot more than 20% of a $20 generic. So, other than that, we'll work on plan design just a little bit. If there is anything, it's one of those things too, if it's not broke, do you fix it, or do you start maybe creeping up the out-of-pockets? Do you add $250 year to year, so when you do all of a sudden have some bad years, it's not a huge jump if you want to all of a sudden add $1,000 to the out-of-pockets or something like that. So just some things that Nina and I'll talk about, and she can discuss with you guys as well. One question I have, what do you charge right now for the employees for the plan?
For the singles, we charge 50. Employee spouse and employee child is 175.
175 or 75?
175, and then family is 250.
Okay.
Do you know what those plans cost us?
Please can tell you that it's astronomical.
Yeah, what you're funding, I don't know exactly what you're funding, but if you look at a max cost basis, they're probably around $800 or $900, or probably close to $1,000 for a single.
I'll
And
find that for you.
You mean on a private carrier? I mean,
No.
other than somebody?
With what we're doing now?
Well, every year is different on what it actually costs you. It depends on with the reserves you built and those kind of things. That's something that we can look at from a standpoint of where should you actually be funding. You don't have to fund it to the full max now because you've got some reserves that you could utilize. Like this year, for example, you've probably funded for just claims around almost $750,000, but so far this year, you've only spent about $430,000. So this year has been a very good year so far with a few months left. Like last month was only like $25,000 in claims. Month before was 61. So what you're actually funding and what you're actually spending are two different numbers. And that's why you self-fund. You've got a max that if you go over, the stop-loss carrier jumps in. But you also, so when you keep feeding that account, it goes up in the good years and then it might come back down a little bit in the bad years. And you've had more good years than you've had bad years. So that's how you build your reserve over time. So really looking at, if you looked at a fully insured, it might say that you're going to pay I'm just going to say $2,000 for a family, and the self-funded might say you need to fund $2,500 for a family. But that $2,000, if we run the numbers and we look historically, you may be giving Blue Cross more money, or United Healthcare or somebody, you might be giving them more money than what you actually spent in the year. Does that make sense? So really it's hard to say what does it cost us, because you never know until the end of the year. You know what you're funding to, but you don't know what it actually costs you until after the year's over and you've got all the claims in for that year and you say, okay, it costs us X amount of dollars. But that's great. I can bring you a historical report, and I think we might have looked at one of those either last year. But if we did, I'll bring a historical report for you next time, so that way you can just see for like the last 5 years, what has it actually cost us on a per employee per month basis.
Okay.
I think we said 19,000 last year, didn't we? I think we said 19,000 last year,
Per employee?
average.
Where we have 50 employees? 51.
We need to get 2 more whacked off.
Well, I still like to crack it up, how they want to go pay your insurance like these,
Right.
I put them on,
Yeah.
Then why can't you do that?
because we have to have all full-time employees.
They work considered full-time?
Well, and think about it, though, really the only reason, right now, the major thing is you're gonna offer health insurance, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the 50 threshold means. Do I have to offer it, or do I not have to offer it? There are some other things, like if we wanted to go to, like right now, if we wanted to go to Blue Cross and to look at a quote, when you're under 50, they don't look at your claims history, they don't look at anything. It's purely off of the age of your employees, and it's a guarantee issue. So if you had a person spending $500,000 a year in claims, they can't treat you any different than another group that doesn't, the whole group doesn't spend $500,000. That's kind of where the Affordable Affordable Care Act, whatever we call it, came into play. If you're under 50, it's just, here's your plan based off of the number of people you have and their age. But since you're over 50, they can look at all your claims experience. That's where, those are the two things. Do I have to offer it? And if I have to offer it, how can they underwrite me? That's what that 50 mark is, so.
Can we put something in our personnel policy said that commissioners are exempt from health insurance benefits to be salary?
We looked at that, when did we look at that? We looked at that a few years ago.
Here?
It's probably been 4 or 5 years. Let me ask our gal in the compliance on that, to see, because I know historically we have not been able to do that.
That would really help us.
You know,
Yeah, just show us that.
No, you can take
I know.
insurance anyway. And some counties don't even offer it to their commissioners.
But in the
How they
past,
don't do it. I don't know.
Can Paris get
But,
health insurance?
do you know any of them that do
Or
off the top
can
of your head?
Paris get health
I have
insurance?
to find out again. I have a list of them.
Did you?
Some of them don't.
Can Paris?
They don't offer it to the commissioners.
That's
So
not
I
right.
don't know how they get around
It's
that.
what?
He's got health insurance. The maintenance man at school can get health insurance working 10 hours a week.
Considered part
They
of
Who
considered,
told you
are they
that?
considered full-time?
I don't know if I take that.
He's-
I don't
he-
think that's right.
He's got health insurance.
They offer benefits to part-time? See, we used to do that here.
10 hours a week.
It didn't matter. If you were part-time, you used to get a benefit.
Did we make, we just?
We don't do that anymore. When we had a part-timer work for a month and have to have a new place.
There are a lot of schools,
That's when we
yeah.
put
There are a
that
lot of
in
schools,
policy.
Ray Ben's the same way.
They include part-time?
They include part-time, but they have to pay a additional amount based off the number of hours they work under 30. So, and it'll go clear down, they're actually just changing it. It used to go clear down to 10, and now it goes to 10 a week, and now they have, I think they phased it to 20 for this next year, that if you work 20 or more. But if you think, they've got a lot of, I mean, school districts have a lot of paras, they've got a lot of, it's hard to get bus drivers, the lunch people, it's just really hard to get them. And that's part of the benefit to try, that they can do that. Now, they have to pay a little bit more, but. Okay. Sitting at 51. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up, we made the change on the prescription drugs, and so I wanted to visit with you. Do you feel like that's, at this point, has kind of leveled out after the
I haven't heard
2 or
anything.
3 things that we had happen?
Yes, we had a few issues at first, but I think everything's fine.
And really, the only thing we had was compound drugs, was
Well,
compound.
Rob, we had some issues with diabetics, but I think they got all that worked out. Haven't heard anything.
Got everything figured out?
It was wrong.
Oh, wrong.
His wife.
Oh, I'm
I don't remember what the deal was, but
Most compound drugs are an issue.
yeah.
we
Well,
got
they-
that worked out.
Well, what happens is compound drugs you want on your plan to be excluded because there are some that are, what they fill in for your actual drug can be hundreds of dollars. And so if you leave it wide open, that can cost you a lot of money. But then there are some other compounds that people actually, I don't want to use the word need, but you want to have them included. So when we ran into that on several issues, we got it approved to go through. We had to go back through some steps and write in that there's an exception on these. And then if something changes though, because they approve those compounds, so if one of those 4 or 5 ingredients changes, then it doesn't go through again. And so now we've got approved a couple of 2 or 3 different variation for 3 people to do so. Well,
There's one pharmacy in Wichita, that's all they do.
That's the one we all go to,
and they're,
and you don't want us to not go to.
And you know what compound drugs are?
No, I don't.
It's where they mix it themselves, you know, like hydrocortisone and zinc oxide and something else, and they stir it all up, but that's compound. But when CBD oil is gonna take care of everything, so we'll have to.
So the pharmacy you guys go through makes
All right.
one that's,
they take medicines and put them, they take some and put them
It's
together.
specially designed for you, like what I take isn't the same as what he's taking.
you're talking to the guy that takes
Yes.
2 and leave every year whether I need to or not. That's not.
Yeah, but they're not actually manufacturing the drugs themselves. They're taking 1 or 2 specific drugs, and then there may be a few other ingredients, and they put them together because that is what that person needs to work it within their system. And what happens is sometimes those pharmacies, fortunately the one in Wichita doesn't do this very much, I don't hear about them, but they'll take those 2 ingredients or that 1 ingredient or the 1 drug, and the 3 or 4 ingredients that they mix in with it costs 200 times more than what the actual drug does. And so you can buy the drug for $5, but all of a sudden it's, a couple $100s for that drug that they're charging, when there's no reason, because those ingredients didn't cost that much. They just inflate the prices on it. So you have to be very careful on those compound drugs, and that's what, first of all, when you make a switch on it to another PBM, you're always going to have, because especially when you guys have been with one for so long, there's a lot of exceptions in for years and years and years, so you start catching those as people start going to the pharmacy and say, okay, it's not covered. Well, how do we get this covered? Because it's been, we've been able to do it, it's the right thing to do, so.
I have the premiums for this year. Employee only, the total monthly premium is $959.91. Of that, the employee pays $50. We pay BMI $190.04, and then the county puts into the reserve $719.87. Employee child is $1625.90, which the employee pays $175. County pays to BMI $181.77. Our portion is $1269.13.
Now, those last 3 numbers that you're given, the 191, 70, 71. So what's the 1,600? Isn't that just what?
That's the
pays?
total.
That's the total, okay.
Right.
And so these 3 add up to the
These 3 add
1,600.
up to the $1625. Employee spouse is $1825.77. 175 employee, we pay BMI $216.79. We put into the reserve $1433.98. And then a family is $2,698.63. Which the employee pays $250 of that. We pick up the cash for the rest of it.
So you have a single, and then there's the couple, and then the family.
We have employee child, employee spouse, employee family.
Okay. What's the employee spouse? Read that, just the.
$1825.77.
What was the
$2698.60. 98.63. So what our employees pay is
Is minuscule.
minute, which And that's why you guys have always kept it.
I would say that for a municipality, the employee-only share of $50 is not out of line. You're probably on the lower end to some on the employee, child, spouse, and family. Those are probably a little bit higher on average. Other people's, what they charge. However, I do have 3 other municipalities I work with that charge $100 for an employee and $200 for everybody else. So you're not too
Say that
far.
one more.
They pay $100. The one that's a little bit different than yours, they pay $100. The employee pays $100 for their own. Actually, it's like $97 or something, because there's a Affordable Care Act rule that you got to make it affordable, and so it's like 97. And then they pay for employee spouse, employee child, or family. They pay a flat $200. So that's actually they're a little bit more on. They make the employees pay more, but they dropped it on the family a little bit. But I don't know.
For family, 175 for the other two. We
So if
did-
you have 2 employees and one's a single guy and one's got 3 kids,
The
the guy that's
single guy
got,
pays 50, the guy with 3 kids pays 250.
and we're basically paying the guy that's got 2 kids about $1,500 more.
If that's how you want to look at it.
Now, a lot of plans will offer 2 plans, right?
We used to, but it got to the point to where everybody was on the same plan, so we did away with all of that, because it wasn't that.
Well, and it all depends on what the employee share is.
Yeah.
If you offered a higher deductible plan and left this the employee share, the 50, the 175, and the 250, and then you left your traditional plan that you have right now and called it your buy-up plan, where, everything was double, you might have people migrate that direction. But that's an option. That's always an option.
We tried that though and found that everybody pretty much stuck with the original, road. It is, it's awful to try to keep track of, but we could try that again. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I would tell you, based off of where you're sitting right now on this, that it looks like you'll have a pretty favorable renewal. And if we don't have a pretty favorable renewal, I think that one of these other people would look at, not that I think you need to move necessarily, but we'll have some negotiating power with the stop-loss carriers, with benefit management, no matter what, in the worst-case scenario, because you're running about 55-60% loss ratio this year. We knew that it was going to happen because last year, because the year before, what we call your funding got inflated because you had a bad, and then it starts, as you have a couple of good years, it starts coming back down, then you have a bad year and that funding goes back up where you have to fund to. I expected this to happen, but not maybe at the level that you're having a good year on top of funding. This year, you're funding extra that you probably, not that you shouldn't, because it's a risk that you could spend it, but you're not going to spend it. It's got inflated over the last 2 years. That we're talking about that, which you're
The
funding.
reserve.
Yeah, the reserve column that's on here, the 2,100 for a family and the 719 for a.
That's the portion we pull out of employee benefits every month for health insurance and put it into the insurance receipt. But, you never know.
No, we don't.
No.
That's why we do it, because
Right.
it take 2 or 3 employees get really, really sick.
Having a healthy reserve is important.
We run the risk every year because our employees are,
We're all getting older, except for me.
and I
Absolutely.
don't, yeah.
Anyway,
But,
Another 4 or 5 years, we might have to have a huge turnover.
yeah.
Well, so I just wanted to lay out for you a little bit about what we were going to do. Have some conversations with Nita on, maybe, having one plan is perfectly fine. It's just if you start looking at options on, okay, how do we cut costs, or are our benefits too rich compared to the market? Offering two plans may make sense instead of so if somebody wants to keep their current plan, they can do that. But they've got to buy up to it, there's so many different options that you can have on the table. But I'd say we'll visit, we'll continue, once I get the preliminary numbers, I'll share those with Nita, and then I'll collect all the other quotes as well. So that way, we know from a preliminary standpoint is, all right, we're looking at a decrease right now. I would think that that's what we're gonna look at for this next year, that we're gonna look at that attachment coming down. And we'll be able to, we'll have a better understanding here in the next couple of weeks anyways. So,
And our deductible on that is $750 a person, $1,500 a family, and the employees pay the deductible.
then they pay another $1,000 of what's called co-insurance after that. So they can
So
pay.
is it like an 80-20, they pay another $20,000?
Well, they pay 20% on $5,000, so they pay, so if they have a $5,000 claim after they meet their deductible, they'll pay $1,000 of that. And then they don't pay anything else the rest of the year on any medical expenses after that. They still have like the prescription side of things. They still have to pay their prescriptions, but on the medical side, they're done at that point, so. Okay. Any questions for me at this point? Okay, we'll probably be about the middle of next month. That we'll reschedule, look at what we've gotten in from the other carriers and make some decisions at that point, if that works for you all.
Do you need to be in on this conference call to review
Actually, I do not need to, and yeah, I talked to Kathy yesterday, and she said that,
I'll give her a call.
it'll take 2 or 3 minutes, and at this point, it's not that, it's just more of, are you gonna make any changes? That's it, and we don't know at this point, and that's all that I would tell her,
Okay.
is that probably not,
But you don't know.
but we don't know for sure yet. Yep. Can I take this? Can I have a copy of that? All right, guys, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Month will be here before we know it. No doubt. Thank you.
Do you have anything, Tom?
Just wanted to say
Security?
Misty?
Misty,
You said you're two a week every
Hey,
day.
mister.
I went to saw the dermatologist the other day, and the lady came in and she said, I don't see too many people in suits anymore. I said, okay. Are you allergic to anything? I said, not that I know of. Are you sure? I said, yeah, pretty sure. You take any medication? No. Are you sure? I'm like, pretty sure. I must be like some sort of anomaly.
She can't believe it.
Yeah.
Morning.
morning.
Well, I'm changing my name this weekend, so I'm taking off and getting married. So,
Okay.
wanted you guys to be.
Misty, you change Misty to what?
Well, I'm kind of on the fence about that. Yeah.
Trixie?
Trixie, yeah. Okay, I wanted to kind of go over the schedule with you. I had to call in some favors from surrounding providers that could come in. Jason Alvarez is the first one. That is a EMT from Edwards County that will be covering a day shift for us. And then we also have Dave Harbert, who is from Pratt EMS. He graduated in '09, the same year I did. He's a paramedic. He's coming down 2 days to cover for us. And also Joe Dickinson from Lerner EMS is going to come down and cover Friday day for us. Kept me busy this week trying to get everybody signed up and through the ambulance and got them comfortable, and so we're excited to have them. Jason Alvarez and Dave Harbert actually voiced they would like to come down more and assist in the future. So if I need time off, I can call them, and if they're off, they'll come down. Joe Dickinson's getting ready to retire in October officially, and he's going to travel with his wife. And he said if he decides he wants to get back in, he'll give me a call and he can come out and help us as well. So we're excited to be bringing on more ALS providers. So
Where's Joe from?
Larned EMS, he's the EMS director over there actually. He's a paramedic as well.
So that'd be a pretty big effort to get somebody to cover 2 or 3 days a week
Yeah.
before you could get days off.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's what I'm excited that we signed up 3 new providers, so that if I need something, I can call, so, or a time and later. These are daytime providers because I have them tied to an ambulance while they're here, but they don't know the area. They don't know Maxville, they don't know Stafford, they don't know. Now, they come more often after this week that I'm gone. They'll know it more and they can run at night, but right now, they'll just be daytime help until they get comfortable with their areas.
It's pretty easy to follow the first 2 athletes. That's usually.
I don't know how they do it, but,
You know, it was kind of funny, Jason and Joe and Dave, when they came in and looked at their schedule, they about croaked. They're like, how do you do that? How do you do it? And I said, you know, I think it's small town mentality. You can walk in somebody's front door and call them by first name, and it's somebody's family member, so to us, it's more taking care of our community, and it doesn't bother us. Sometimes the walls feel like they're closing in, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you can't go out of town, you can't do anything, you miss your kids and stuff, but, you know, we're looking for help, and we've been talking about it, and we're trying. Candace has taken her 48-hour refresher course, and she's wanting to test again, so we'll see where that goes, but I'd like to discuss that with you guys, what to do when we deal with that. Doesn't happen, and we need to maybe advertise when I get back and see what we can bring in as an EMT, or we do have 10 people in the EMT class right now, and we've got a couple of them that are promising that are asking about full-time position. So we do have that option as well, but they get done in December. So a few more months.
That's good that they're willing to help out cover. That's for sure.
And the good thing, I mean, now, I told them, you know, I was talking to Nita about the pay that we're gonna pay them. They're advanced providers and they'll do $10 an hour, which surprised me. Because at, Dave Harbour graduated in '09. He's been a paramedic for 10 years and has always worked for Pratt. And so I told him, we can pay you more, you know, if you want, and I can go to you guys and ask. And he said, no, he's just doing it as a favor to me because I know these people and they want me to be able to go somewhere. So I thought that was really neat that they're just going to do it for that cost.
So did you want to do an executive session today to discuss what we want to do with that gal, or do you want to do that later?
We can, if you guys want to go in executive session, just to talk about it, that's fine.
I do have a couple of questions before we do that.
Okay.
This is just for my own information. On the Zool,
So,
Zolts, I mean, they're quite a bit better than what we had before. And I mean, you basically hook them up. Does that automatically read to the hospital?
no.
No?
EKG's, Lori Rowling is our rep for Zoll. It will hook up if it is just a forward lead. It won't do fast patches like cardiac arrest. It won't do that. But if a forward lead, we can transmit to Hutch Hospital. And she's trying to get that done. She said she had to get stuff programmed in, and we keep calling her, but she's busy, and she's been to Reno County, and so we're trying to get that so we can go straight to a cath lab in Hutch if we're having it active and on. But it won't do it for cardiac arrest.
Okay. And then it's also the shock, the defibrillator? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I just want to try to understand better what those work. And then like when we do when you guys do the transfers from like Pratt to Stafford or Stafford to Pratt, you know, and the ambulance service gets paid for that, does that just go into your general fund?
Yeah, I post it to the patient's account and it goes straight into our ambulance fees, I believe is where that goes. And it keeps track of how much money we bring in.
Okay.
Yeah. We just took one last night.
Because I mean, when people were saying, well, you guys are hiring too many people, I said, well, they're paying for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can do the transfers, I mean,
And-
they're basically paying for themselves.
And you'll see that actually at the end of this year, because last year we took transfers a lot. This year, we've had to turn a lot down because we can't during the day. So our revenue is down from what it was last year, and you'll see that at the end of the year. It's not horrible. I mean, we're sitting right now about 85,000, but we should usually run a little bit, more than that. So we'll probably bring in 100, 115 by the time the year's out. But usually we do, 120, 130, but those transfers are hurting us because we can't take it. Because you have to have 4 people, right now we have 3.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have.
You want to make the motion for the executive session?
I make a motion in 10 minutes.
Sure.
I make a motion that we go into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel. We have a motion in a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
We had Hudson come down for testing and stuff like that, and on the way down, we lost the motor in one of the fire trucks, one of the 5 tons. We're in the process, we won't know something for the first next week on what one cost, but I think there's 2 or 3 motors sitting, brand new motors and crates in resource service.
Was this a truck that we own or is this forestry motor?
It's a truck we own.
Just driving it.
Driving it down, yeah. So it's got water in the oil, pushing out the breather. Roughly last time Jerry Sanders bought a motor, he said it was somewhere around $3,000 for one. So, I mean, it's just probably feasible to put a motor in it. We thought about taking the one that comes out and Jerry getting a rebuild kit if it's rebuildable and rebuild it and have a spare motor for the county center. So,
Is there several that use the same one?
2 of those trucks. 3.
3?
The only other, the difference between the other motors is the turbine. This one's not. So,
What motor is it exactly?
Mask. It's the A2 truck.
it's got the 240 in there.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. It's Cummins.
It's a Cummins, yeah.
I want Jerry to replace one with his own truck. But I just thought I'd kind of let you guys know.
Okay.
So you're gonna use the turbo as a replacement, or
Yeah.
Put that on.
You just go back and just
so you can see that.
Yeah,
We'll
she
just
said
go
you
back with the same
didn't
one.
have to go, she just wanted to know where it's going.
Put it on our agenda, so remind us.
so there's one available, so you just go ahead and order it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we find out Monday that they have, like, the guy that takes care of all the forestry stuff is on vacation this week, and the other guy said, I know there's 3 or 4 motors out there brand new in crates, but he said, I don't know which one's which, so we'll get a price and we'll go from there.
How much would it cost to overhaul like a bad one?
I don't know, Jerry was gonna try to find out exactly what it costs to do that too,
Might not really be worth it even if you.
and it may not be, I mean, if you can buy one for $3,000, it costs you $2,700 for a kit. that makes sense.
Yeah, my 65 horse Cummins irrigation motor rebuilt kit for it's like $75.
That's why I'm not too sure I'd rebuild it.
Yeah.
Unless he tells you for sure that it's a pretty good deal, I don't know.
I've called Marshall, because got everything covered on that, you want to. I'd had a couple of phone calls and I called Marshall the other day, and you kind of want to cover with these 2 guys as far as the set of the shoes maybe.
I have talked to Tom and Jerry and the guys up north. And there's a note in dispatch that before we go assist Quivira on any fires that I need to be contacted. With the water stuff and everything like that. You know, we kind of discussed it last time I was in here. And
I know nothing's probably scheduled to take place till January 1 as far as anything going into effect, but as far as our response, I told them unless I state otherwise, that we're not really going to go up there and just put out their fires just to be nice. You know, I think if that whole water deal comes down, it's going to affect the tax base here in Stafford County extremely bad. And, you know, we are funded by the taxpayers. I've heard from a lot of taxpayers about what the fire department was going to do if they were called there. You know, because they're not real happy about having their tax money go put out something for the federal government. So as of right now, I've just kind of told them, you know, it's my call to begin with, whether we go and, you know, if it's something major, you know, that's going to cause life-threatening stuff, we'll give up. I'm not going to deny help that way, but, you know, if it's just something that they can take care of, but they don't want to. And me and Tom have set up a meeting, well, we haven't set it yet, but next week we're going to meet with Dave, who is kind of the head there over there. I'm just going to update him on and talk to him about it.
So who did you talk to the first time?
I've just talked to our fire department.
You haven't talked to them?
We haven't talked to anybody at Cougar. We're going to try to do that next week sometime. Just kind of be on the same field and let them know that, you know, you may not have any help if you call us. They've also in the past used Rice County, Reno County, and Marsh County to help them too, so.
Do you guys think we need to, I mean, I'm all in favor of that. You know, I mean, we can't hardly make a ruling that just basically states you cannot go in the career. Because, I mean, there's always extenuating circumstances, but I do like the idea that Marshall's gonna look at it. If it's not life-threatening, you know, I would just soon as not be doing anything on the career other than set back fires to keep it off individual's property. But do we need to make any kind of ruling or just basically, do we know what Marshall's saying and that's fine with us?
That's what I would do.
Do you guys trust him? He knows what's best for the province.
Can we put that in the minutes where maybe people in the community will know that they're no longer supplying fire service to the career?
You just say that we're gonna look to the fire department.
So will you guys be able to put that motor in yourself?
I had pretty much figured on letting Jerry Sanders do it. He done one of his own, he said about 6 hours, they had it out in and running. I figured with him knowing exactly how to do it, might as well let somebody with experience know how to do it because I don't know if we got the time right now to do it either. He's got the equipment to be able to look that thing in and out, and we're gonna go have all that, so. The only other thing I was gonna ask you guys, and this is actually for city, last night we discussed our housing issue in town, but some of the council members had asked, we've always used the county health nurse, and that's just, she's a city health nurse as well. Is there some type of agreement, or is that something that is just done because she works for the county and we're dependent? I mean, not that we want to go away from it,
As far as what do you mean?
on the housing.
Well, she has authority to do that in the city.
Right, and which, I mean, she has authority because the city lies within the county, but, you know, we've always just, every year we appoint her as our city health nurse.
I think she just had a lot of people calling her, you know,
Right.
got broken window. Anybody that didn't like the house next to him was calling her. I think she's just overwhelmed.
Right, well, I
I
mean,
don't think you'd have to use it.
well, it's, we want to use her, but we actually thought maybe making it worth her time of doing it, you know, whether we, if she does something for the city, maybe possibly paying her to do it instead of, or maybe she does it on her own time. I don't know if that's a conflict or, I mean, maybe doing something like that. I mean, we pay other people to do
Agreed.
our stuff.
I don't see any conflict.
Yeah.
But, just to kind of help, you know, maybe if she's getting compensated for it,
That might encourage it. I think that'd be good.
and maybe she even does it on her own time, you know, I'm
I
not
think she
really.
does it during the day.
I know
Do
she
you
does.
guys go with her any,
We do when we,
is it during
depends
the
on where
day
we're
when
at.
you're
If she
gone?
feels uncomfortable, I just, we've
I thought
done
it was
before in
during
the past, and we
hours.
told her she would go
But
with.
you know, I mean, there's times that after she gets off work, she goes to district court because we're dealing with the case.
Yeah,
And she's not really getting paid for it to be there on her time and stuff like that. Just something we discussed last night, and I think you guys will probably get some calls from other city council members, just getting some input from you. I just told them I'd be here today and I'd talk to you. So,
I think that's a good idea.
and I do know that the city is trying to take some of that weight off of her shoulders of some of the complaints. So,
Yeah, she's not gonna respond to broken numbers or like that.
and I think the city is fixing on sending out a whole bunch of letters to people in Central addressing all those issues. So,
Sounds good.
that's all I have.
All right,
Thank you.
You guys got anything for us, Rob?
No, I was just waiting to see if the mayor from Stafford showed up and give an update to you guys or not.
She had called me last night, kind of gave me a little update on that. Said she was at some housing educational thing today. I don't know, do you want to do it?
Go right ahead.
No,
I mean, you
you
got
probably
it from the
know
horse's
more than-
mouth, so.
No, were you there at the meeting?
No, I was in,
Should we do that, should I do that in executive session, since we're kind of discussing all
Probably.
elected officials?
if you want to.
I don't know.
is it our personnel?
Potential effects.
I mean, I guess,
We have to take a vote and cover it.
so would that be like attorney privilege? Or
I would say that.
leave it open? What do you got going, Phil?
I'm just bringing it up to date on these.
Is that building the same size?
No, it's 8 foot longer.
It looks huge.
Yeah, it's
And it has a
longer.
lot, it's built very well.
Is it
That's why I
deep?
want to take some pictures.
Is it deeper, Phil?
Yes.
It looks like it's a lot
It's
deeper
8
too. and-
8 foot
Yeah,
deeper.
which,
Okay.
I mean.
8 foot deeper?
Yeah, you know as well that if you start storing equipment, you run out of room in a hurry.
Yeah, it's always getting longer and longer.
Yes,
Okay.
that's nothing.
So you're aware? I mean, I knew you
Oh.
were aware, but I just wanted to make sure you
Yeah,
did.
it's,
Okay.
I guess they're just doing their stuff, I said, register. And there's some other
You
pictures.
been happy with the way everything's going?
So, yeah, and Chris said he'd probably finish up here, probably next first weekend of October.
So do you know when he's gonna start down there?
Well, and then I asked him that too, so, right now, he said he's so far behind, he's trying to get somebody else to come in and do it for him.
No, Sabbath?
Yeah. And he said right now he's not going to start doing that, so if he doesn't, if he isn't able to find somebody, he said if he has to do it, he's probably looking at the middle to the end of the year for him to start. I told him, I said, well, it's not an issue, it's
Yeah.
just something. that-
I just soon have him do it, have him set it up.
Okay.
Because I mean, that's why we went through this.
Okay, well, he was just wondering how quick we could get it, so, and that's why he told us. I was in the project, so that's why.
But he get the pad poured before cold weather.
Yeah, I would think, well, so he probably covered, this is just extremely cold.
Yeah.
Usually
Well,
it's-
who knows, it's just gonna be like this.
So, yeah. So, that's on me. Just some emergency operations, all the sheriff, dispatch, fire, EMS, road, bridge, health and others. It just brings all that under. 10 different disciplines in there. So it's quite a few. So,
You got it under control.
No. Actually, I'm going to a meeting on it. On the, here the first week of October about so it's, I've known it was out of date. I was over like the last one was written by somebody else.
Yeah. Who wrote it?
Somebody on the boards.
Can you go off what they did last time?
Well, yeah, but there's some different.
Oh,
it's just
that was
state
it,
laws.
that group,
Clay probably remembers that.
yes. They were out of Lawrence, Nita.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a lot, I mean, I don't know what they charge for money, that's why I just
Well,
kind of,
it's,
actually just kind of hurt my feet, honestly.
if I recall, it was pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, for what it is, and I mean.
Yeah, and I think it was mainly just cut and paste.
Yeah, you know, and that's why, and I actually, what I did was run everybody's off and give them to them. And let them check and see if anything was different. It just depends on what the state has come out and changed.
Yeah,
Now, they
yeah.
want it required. Because there's also planning for schools, a lot of it, there's the operations plans for type of vehicles. Actually, I don't know. It doesn't come in under our plan, but it's still listed, you know, all that stuff. So it's,
I remember asking about, you know, on the railroad, we never know what's on those.
and but that's also why they fire.
Yeah.
So you can go
Yeah.
to somebody who doesn't say.
They said, we'll call it hazmat tea.
Yeah, well, you better be looking through binoculars, because you don't want to run up there
Right.
and try to read it and read off your book.
Right,
So,
right.
but you don't want to do that anytime. Stay back
Yes.
away from it, so it's better. not. So right now, we're in the city of Hudson, trying to get the streets up there, cleaned up and widened out. And other things to seal the streets. I don't think they've had any significant street work done with there for quite some time. I know since I've been the supervisor.
Are you gonna seal all the streets or just like the main street?
Well, I'm gonna give them a cost. I mean, we're gonna, we cut them all back and we hauled off all the dirt. And what they're proving it now is just like they come in the streets and farm it us.
Everybody will be happy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But, and then we've had a few discrepancies, but that's, and we knew it was gonna happen, and they knew it was gonna happen. So, but now they're trying to patch it. And we'll go from there. So we'll give them a figure and see, make sure they understand what the costs are going to go along. Kind of working.
So we got the last 22 loads of oil in this pay period.
Yes. That's actually all it was.
That's it?
Yes. The only thing that we have left will be on that project, east of this, to the hot mix.
Over to the tank, over to the
Over
tank.
that 2 miles east of
Yeah.
Kind of still up in there on the deal with Robinson on the hot mix.
That's what we're talking about, that he's supposed to be getting me a figure, and it's gonna cost us to do that, because we've got all the material, and we're hauling the 3/4 inch right now for it. And so it's going to take a bit, but 2-inch hot mix right now, it'll cost about 3,000 tons. That's just a matter of him wanting it, and basically, because we have all the material. And it just depends on whether we help haul it to help defray some of that expense, or whether we want him to haul it all and lay it down. So he's supposed to be getting a figure on that stuff.
Would we go the full 2 miles there to where the road curves, or would we just go down to the?
No, we'll go ahead and do all of that. It's actually more or less than 2, because we stopped short of that corner down there, just because it's always a difficult to maintain.
Yeah. So what's asphalt now, we would
Yeah, we'll
just go back
we'll overlay everything that's there for now. that way, it's just, it becomes a chore. You could actually, that was stood up a lot better than what I thought it would. It actually
Especially
stood-
all that truck traffic.
Yeah, and it actually stood up better than I ever thought.
Yeah.
Because I would like to go this year. So, that's where we're at on that. But we have finished our season. And now we just, we got the township going down. We finish it today. So we got ours to do, so I'm sure we'll pass Thanksgiving.
They want us in 2 weeks.
No, I don't check. I don't know if you get too long.
If somebody had told me that pigweed or the mare's tail was 3 foot tall, I mean,
Around the fence.
yeah.
And
And they made it sound like the whole deal, but it's just around.
I think
Yeah.
when I was by there, they were getting up
We-
around the fence.
Yeah, and it looks bad because it's not plush.
Yeah.
And it have to be weeded, but I can use some of the guys down there. Knock it down around
That's great.
there. Well, probably won't do much difference this year. We can have Ryan spray around there, just to help do that. I would think. He can spray the retardant, some other things on it.
You could have done now, have it spray till next spring.
Yeah, I won't be able to
Yeah,
spray.
you can do it.
Probably take a chainsaw to cut them down.
Some of the big weeds last year were bad, but some of them.
The mare's tail's no weed.
They got a hard blade.
You better have a
Actually, I talked to a couple of the spraying outfits about sweeping out the ditches. Spraying. I said, we're defeating the purpose here. You're killing grass and promoting weed growth in the ditch, and then the farmer gets upset because it's weeds, well, who caused the problem, so. Actually, somebody looks, it doesn't hit the approach spill more than it knows.
Yeah.
So, I think next spring I will just send a letter to everybody and say, hey, this meeting can bring on this. I don't know, maybe I'll put it in some farm, if someone do it on spring.
Yeah. And they love saying, well, they got to spray the ditch because all those weeds. Well, it's just weeds because you killed all the grass.
Yeah, and I had, that guy told me that one time, and I usually said, that's wrong. I said, we spend an awful lot of money to take the ditches, we run mowers. You know, all but about 3 weeks of the summer. And that's when we're seeing it, so. Hadn't been up for a while, so I just wanted to bring it up today. So I think let's.
Is Mike coming back, you know?
Maybe find him. Just touch the leg.
No. Does he have work today?
I don't know.
No.
He comes back in, we can discuss the deal about staff.
You want to figure you defer the delegate and your alternate for K-work?
We'll make a motion with
Hey, Phil, you got anybody?
appoint Tom Wykoff as the delegate and Kurt Fairchild as the alternate.
Second.
No motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Is this, will this be brought up at the meeting we're going to in which time?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to sign this?
And then your nomination for the board, the current representative for South Central District is Wayne Wilt from Cowley County. You want to nominate him, or you want to nominate Kurt, or you want to nominate?
Wayne sounds good.
Yeah, Wayne's been doing a good job.
I don't know Wayne.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'm nominating Wayne.
Second.
Have a motion is second for Wayne Wilt, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. On that, districting for the fair board, my only concern on that is,
You'll be right.
I mean, I think it would be a good deal, but they would basically be making another entity that can generate their own taxes. You know, instead of coming to the commissioners and asking for their, you know, more money, which they've basically done every year, you're gonna have a board that we appoint the first time, and then after that, they basically appoint their own board.
Elected,
It's elected,
It's elected.
elected. They're
Like the
appointed the
school
first.
board?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like the cemetery boards.
No.
It would be like the school board.
But the
It is
first,
elected.
the first go-around
Is appointed,
appointed.
and then they go on staggered terms, and then they're elected.
So if you go 3 counties together, do you have a couple people at each county on the one board?
I
you
would
would.
assume so. I don't
I'm sure
know.
you would.
I mean, it makes me a little nervous as far as having an entity that is basically like a school that raises its own bill. But that they're elected
They're capped.
officials is a lot better.
Yeah, they'll be the ones getting the heat, if
Yeah.
you.
I
Yeah.
thought they were capped at 6.
Not unless they write that in the bylaws, they're not counted. But,
Did you find Mike?
Give me a run.
Okay.
Just one recess, I guess.
Yeah, we'll recess. I visited with the mayor of Stafford the other day, Julie Lyons, and she said they were still in the process of trying to find a chief of police. They had one good candidate. It sounds like a couple of people on the council are hung up on they must immediately move to Stafford. Sounds like some of their meetings get very heated. And, but they're still working, and she was worried that the sheriff's department of the county was gonna do something. I really didn't think we were interested in it. Do you have anything to add with that, Mike?
You got the same information I have.
I mean, is there at some point to where if we say they're not supplying police force, that we take that over? Which I'm not in favor of.
No.
I think they have to ask.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
such a bad, it's their responsibility by their ordinance, because their classes.
They would come to us with a
and everything else.
proposal, and I'm sure we'd have to say it's gonna cost us X dollars, and you're gonna have to refund, reimburse the county for, if we're gonna do that. If, lots of ifs.
The same approach
Not
we did
really.
with St. John.
Our concern.
Sort of, but we never came up with a budgeting, and I told them if they were serious and wanted to do it, I would try to come up with numbers for them. But they never would say they were serious about it. I said, it's a little bit of involvement. They're trying to come up with what it would cost and project and everything else. But they never would say they were serious about it, so I never get it. I couldn't-
And I wouldn't go
I
over
couldn't-
soliciting, I'd just leave it alone.
I'd
Yeah.
just assume that not happen.
The only thing I'm concerned about, their loss of this one because of the residential deal is that they might actually lose him coming up here and working for him if I'm not good. I'm afraid he might say, I'm not good enough for you to hire me, so why should I bother coming up here and helping you out? Because
Yeah.
that's all he's doing, he's helping them. He's more of a benefit to them than they are to him.
Very qualified.
So,
Who's this? The one that
he was at Pratt, he was,
Part-time, he's a full-time officer for Platte
Pratt PD.
Police Department.
so he's helping out the other
On
one
his
that's
days off.
full-time. I didn't know they had any help, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
An
some,
officer
but
coming out
it's.
of Wichita.
And one from out west, they're Cole, their former officer, he comes back once every couple of weeks, maybe, or something like that.
But it sounds like the guy out of Pratt is a real good candidate. I think Rob knows him.
I know it.
He is a
Everybody likes him.
senior in high school, so he doesn't really want to move right now.
Just one understanding.
But I mean, it's not the deal of you can be chief and we'll revisit in a year. It's got to be, you've got to commit to moving here right now.
Yeah, they
Lives in Pratt. That's close enough.
Yeah.
but
Sounds
But
that's,
that's their business.
but that's,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
that's what they.
That's the city of Stafford's business, not
Right.
ours.
Yeah. All we can do is encourage them that we don't want to cover long-term like
I think they know that, but
Yeah.
But we're bordering on it forever.
that.
If you really want to,
10
a
months.
lot of them be technical about it. They've been without a chief going on 9 months, but they really haven't had any stable law enforcement for going on 2 years this December since Doug Brown died and retired. So you're talking almost 2 years since they've had a stable, full-time police department. I don't think they've been full staff since then.
But basically, they were wondering about the letter we sent them. Well, that's basically what the letter said, was that you need to do something. But it's their job to do it. That's the way I took the letter.
And, yeah, and they kind of took the letter wrong, but I mean, that's all worked out too. So,
Well, if we don't have anything else, you guys got anything? We'll adjourn.